This is Bergstrom's State Line Quiz Bowl. Now from the Collins Aerospace Studio at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford, here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Welcome back to another edition of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. We are moving forward to the Final Four. There's only 2 seats left. One of these teams will get one of those Final Four seats. First, let's say hello to the Christian Life Eagles. In 9 seasons playing our game, Christian Life has never made it this far to the Elite 8. That's already putting smiles on faces over there. On the strength of Logan's 7 correct buzz-ins, they got past Byron last round. They are looking to soar into the Final Four today. See what I did there? Logan is their captain. That's why we call Christian Life the Low Gang. Introduce us to your starting lineup, Logan.
On my right is Grace, on my near left is Kylie, and on my far left is Garrett.
Christian Life Eagles taking on the Morrison Mustangs. A round of applause for them. The Mustangs have made things interesting this season. They won their first round game by 1 question, their second round game by 2 questions. I see a pattern here, Zayden. Maybe this cushion will be 3 questions. I'm sure Christian Life hopes it's different. You want to add to this, make it to their second Final Four in 4 seasons. Those are pretty good numbers, too. Zayden, introduce us to your starting lineup.
On my right is Mark, on my far left is Nara, and on my near left is Rowan.
All right, strap yourself in. This is going to be a fantastic game. We can feel it. Hands on your buzzers, contestants. Our first round is the buzz-in. Remember, the most important rules are wait for me to call your name until you give an answer, and then say that answer loudly and clearly. Hands on your buzzers. Good luck. Here we go. Cooperstown, New York, is home to the Hall of Fame of what sport, whose invention is erroneously credited to Abner Doubleday? Zayden.
Baseball.
You got it right before the buzzer. The exact inventor's unknown, but likely originated decades before Doubleday. Baseball is right. Morrison's first on the board. What author who depicted a possessed car in the novel Christine? Logan?
Stephen King.
You got it. Published a number of novels using the pen name Richard Bachman. In 2022, what country, led by an autocrat nicknamed Europe's last dictator, allowed Russian forces to invade northern Ukraine from this country's Logan?
Belarus.
That's right, from this country's territory. That leader is Alexander Lukashenko. What man led troops to Williamsburg in the gunpowder incident in 1776, became governor of Virginia, and said, "Give me liberty or give me..." Nara.
Thomas Jefferson.
Incorrect. I'll finish for Christian Life. Liberty or give me death. Logan.
Sam Adams.
Incorrect. Pretty solid guess. Patrick Henry. What species preyed on the moose population on Isle Royal, altered ecosystems when reintroduced to Yellowstone? Zayden.
Wolf.
Correct, and are closely related to dogs. Purdue Pharma developed what narcotic whose popularization in the 1990s helped spark the opioid epidemic? Logan.
Opium.
Incorrect. Morrison, you could take the lead with these points. The development of this drug was the topic of the Hulu series Dope Sick. It was OxyContin. What character who repeats his own name in Largo al Factotum assists Count Almaviva and is the title character of The Barber of Seville? The title character is Figaro. What film set in Bedford Falls depicts a guardian angel named Clarence who comes to save this... Rowan.
It's a Wonderful Life.
That's right. The suicidal George Bailey on Christmas Eve. Jimmy Stewart starred as George. You're in the lead, Morrison. A rotary engine's power output equals its angular velocity times what quantity, which is the rotational analog of force? Zayden.
Torque.
You got it. The young reporter George Willard lives in what small Midwestern town, which titles a story collection by Sherwood Anderson? Written in 1919, that was Winesburg, Ohio. What man who may have murdered his second wife, Poppaea Sabina, succeeded Claudius as Roman emperor in AD 54 and supposedly fiddled while Rome burned? Logan.
Nero.
You've got that. What Canadian city, which hosts the largest international jazz festival, is home to a biosphere designed for Expo 67? Zayden,
Montreal.
you got it right before the buzzer. What African country whose leader Salva Kiir plans to move its capital to Ramsil from Juba became independent in 2011 from its northern Logan?
South Sudan.
You got it, from its northern neighbor. That neighbor is Sudan. What Islamic philosopher and doctor, who is called the commentator for his writings on Aristotle, wrote The Incoherence of the Incoherence? Had to go back to the late 12th century for that one. Averroes was that philosopher, and that's where we end the round. We're out of time for the round. Tight game. Morrison's on top by one question right now, 50 points. The Christian Life's 40. We'll have our volleyball round after this break. We have a super close game going here in this week's Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Only one question as of now between our two teams. Morrison has 50, Christian Life has 40. Before we get to our volleyball round, we need to send out a special thank you to our judge. He's a familiar face, and he helps us out so much that we're running out of ways to say thank you. Brad Fisher is the head editor for the IHSA Scholastic Bowl State Series, so maybe simple is always better. So thank you, Brad. We appreciate you for helping us out so much and being such a Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl supporter. All right, teams, volleyball is a conferring round. Work as a team. Answers need to come from the captains, though. And for Christian Life, that would be Logan. You get the first question this week in volleyball. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. What leader who chaired the UN committee that drafted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights also served from 1933 to 1945 as First Lady?
Eleanor Roosevelt.
You got it. First points of the round. You tied it up. Zayden, here's your first question of the round. In 1898, what European country effectively deposed the Nguyen dynasty and assumed direct colonial control of Vietnam, which lasted until 1954?
France.
You got it. Those are your points. Question for question so far. Back over to Christian Life. What organelles, which in the 1950s were shown to consist mostly of namesake RNA, have the task of translating messenger RNAs to make proteins?
Ribosomes.
Yes. Seems like you knew that before I even finished the sentence. Back over to Morrison. What lunar mare is where Ranger 8 crashed in 1965 and where the Eagle lander touched down during the Apollo 11 mission?
Sea of Tranquility.
Yes, you got it. That's where the Tranquility Base here, the Eagle has landed, came from. First transmission from the surface. Back to Christian Life. What novel whose protagonist calls himself Desdicado while fighting at a tournament attended by Lady Rowena was published in 1819 by Walter Scott?
Don Quixote.
Nope. Good question, or good guess though. That was a tough literature question. Ivanhoe. Back to Morrison. What country in the Pacific Ocean, whose island of Tuvalu lies on the 180th meridian, is governed from Suva?
Tuvalu.
Incorrect. Fiji. That was also a tough geography question. Let's go back to Christian Life. You could tie it with this. What thinker, called the father of conflict theory in sociology for his idea of dialectical materialism, analyzed class relations in Das Kapital?
Freud.
Incorrect. His writings inspired much of the foundation for 20th century communism. That was Karl Marx. Back to Morrison. Catholic Mass was recited only in Latin prior to the reforms of what most recent Catholic Church Council, which was convoked in 1962?
No answer.
That was the Second Vatican Council, also known as Vatican II. Back to Christian Life. What physicist gave h bar over 2 as the lower limit of the product of the standard deviations of position and momentum in his uncertainty principle?
No answer.
It's also Walter White's alias in Breaking Bad. That was Heisenberg, known as the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, and that's how we end the round. Still a 10-point swing. So basically, question for question between our two teams. Morrison has 70 now. Christian Life has 60. We'll take a break, and you'll get to see the Bergstrom bonus question. When you come back, we'll have the answer. One question right now separates our teams. Morrison has 70, Christian Life has 60. This question won't change the scores because it's worth pizza and pasta from Lino's. It's our Bergstrom bonus question. If you're watching at home, you already saw it. Our contestants have not. Hands on your buzzers and let me know if you know the answer to this for that Lino's pizza party. Thanks to the Coinage Act of 1864, what four-word phrase was added to all newly minted United States coins? Brighton, sorry.
In God we trust.
That is correct. In God we trust. First place it appeared was on the ever-popular 2-cent piece, which was authorized by that Coinage Act, but they stopped making those in 1873. We'll be back with more questions worth points. That's the NECA IBEW Lightning Round in just a couple of minutes. We still have a very tight game here for one of our final seats in the Final Four in this season's Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. The NECA IBEW Lightning Round features a lot of points. If you run one of these categories, contestants, it's 100 added to your score. And because of our coin flip, the first choice for this week's topics goes to Zayden and Morrison. Here are the three to choose from, Zayden. Occupations, paintings and artists, or O Canada?
We'll take occupations.
Okay. These are kind of, all three of these are kind of tough topics, just based on the word, right, of the description of the topic. Give the word ending in the letters ER, but not maker, that describes a person who creates or sells these items. This is kind of confusing. I'm going to give you an example. So, for example, if the clue was a dessert we traditionally eat at birthday parties, you would say baker, not cake maker. If that makes sense. So it's going to be a specific topic, but so the word will have the letter end in the letters ER, but it will not be the word maker. I wanted to make that clear because this is kind of a convoluted topic. So we'll see how we do here. Zayden, you've got 60 seconds. You run the category. It's 100 points. You can pass, both teams. That's solid advice because you don't want the clock to eat up all of your time. Are you ready for the first one? Give the word ending in the letters ER that describes a person who creates and or sells these items. Structures made from wood.
Carpenter.
Correct. Maps.
Cartographer.
Correct. Contracts and other official notes. Herman Melville's Bartleby is one.
Lawyer.
Incorrect. Shorthand writings, such as for a courtroom.
Stenographer.
Correct. Horoscopes.
Pass.
Cushions and covers for car seats.
Pass.
Knives and other eating utensils.
Pass.
Candy and other sweets.
Pass.
Shoes. The term also refers to people who repair them.
Cobbler.
Correct. Small items used for sewing and or men's clothing.
No, pass.
Horoscopes.
Astrologer.
Correct. And that's all the time we have. So you've got half of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm reading my notes correctly, you're up to 120. So this could boost you to within a question of them if you get the rest that are up here, Logan. There's 30 seconds only for them. And I'll read it as quickly as I can. Are you ready? You ready for your first one, Logan? Give the word ending in the letters ER that describes a person who creates and or sells these items. Contracts and other official notes. Herman Melville's Bartleby is one.
A broker.
Incorrect. Cushions and covers for car seats.
A tanner.
Incorrect. Knives and other eating utensils.
A forger.
Incorrect. Candy and other sweets.
A confectioner.
That's correct. Small items used for sewing and or men's clothing.
Sewer.
Incorrect. And that's the last one. There's nothing to go back to. Those last 5 are really, really tough. The ones no one got, the contracts and other official notes, and the key clue might have been Herman Melville's Bartleby is one because of his title, Bartleby the Scrivener. Scrivener was that occupation. Cushions and covers for car seats or other seats, maybe your sofa, is an upholsterer. Knives and other eating utensils is a cutler. And small items used for sewing and or men's clothing is a haberdasher. That's one category down, 2 left to choose from. For you, Logan, they are paintings and artists or O Canada.
Oh, Canada.
All right, answer the following about Canada. It's pretty simple. If you're a Letterkenny fan, that could help with this category. We'll see. 60 seconds for these 10, and then same rules apply to you, Zayden, for the 30 seconds for whatever's left. Logan, are you ready?
Yes.
Answer the following about Canada. Its capital.
Ontario.
Incorrect. Province whose only official language is French.
Quebec.
Correct. Rodent that is one of Canada's national animals.
A rat.
Incorrect. Its federal police service.
Pass.
Popular dish consisting of French fries covered with cheese curds and gravy.
Poutine.
That's correct. Its easternmost province.
Prince Edward Island.
Incorrect. Canada's only Major League Baseball team.
Pass.
Month when Canada Day is celebrated.
March.
Incorrect. Province that produces most of Canada's oil.
Manitoba.
Incorrect. Its national summer sport, which predates ice hockey.
Lacrosse.
That's correct. Its federal police service, and that's our time. You got relatively close there. You're within 2 questions, and so 3 of them right leaves 7 up on the board for you, right? 1, 2, 3, yes. So there's 7 back up on the board still for you, Zayden, and the rest of the team. Only 30 seconds for them. I'll read as fast as I can. Are you ready?
Yes.
Answer the following about Canada. Its capital.
Ottawa.
That's correct. Rodent that is one of Canada's national animals.
Beaver.
That's correct. Its federal police service.
Pass.
Its easternmost province.
Newfoundland.
Correct. Canada's only Major League Baseball team.
Toronto Blue Jays.
That's correct. Month when Canada Day is celebrated.
July.
That's correct. Province that produces most of Canada's oil.
Ontario.
Incorrect. And no time to go back to the only one that was left that you passed on. So the only 2 no answers we have, if I'm counting this correctly, the Federal Police Service is known as the Mounties. Their full name is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And the province that produces most of the oil in Canada is Alberta. So we're at 170 to 100 as we move into our final challenge. 70 points may seem like a lot, but each of the questions in our next round are worth 20 points, and that score could change really quickly. We'll end this game right after the break. One round left to play this week for the 3rd seat in our Final Four. Who will it be, Christian Life or Morrison? We'll find out in just a few minutes. Hands on your buzzers, contestants. Remember when we have a close game. Wait for me to call your name before you answer and say your answer loudly and clearly. Hands on your buzzers. Good luck. It's a 70-point swing right now. We'll see what happens when we run out of time. Let's go. What Puritan author depicted Christian's journey to the celestial city in the allegory The Pilgrim's Progress? Lane. Morrison, you have a chance to take these points. He wrote most of it while in prison. That's John Bunyan. What structure contained a mural of Leonid Brezhnev kissing Erich Honecker was crossed, Logan?
The Berlin Wall.
Yes, crossed at Checkpoint Charlie, dismantled in Germany in 1989. What southern state where Sarah Huckabee Sanders became governor in 2023 was led for much of the 1980s by Bill Clinton? Zayden.
Arkansas.
You got it. Those are your points. What activist from Alabama disobeyed driver James F. Blake and sparked the 1955 Montgomery, Logan?
Rosa Parks.
Yes, the bus boycott refusing to give up her seat to a white man. What quantity of storage is equal to 1 million megabytes? Lane.
Gigabyte?
Incorrect. Morrison? Zayden.
Terabyte.
It's a terabyte. We needed to go 1 more power to the 10th higher, or power of 10 higher. Which organ's red pulp contains the cords of Billroth and filters old red blood cells out of the bloodstream? Lane.
The spleen.
Yep, you got that. What town, where Tom Keller is reinstated as sheriff by Mayor Hiram Lodge, is the title home of Betty and Jughead in a CW show based on Archie comics? Rowan.
Riverdale.
That's right. During his second stint as prime minister, which politician oversaw Britain's creation of a nuclear weapon and the coronation of Elizabeth II? Lane.
Churchill.
That's right. Those are your points. What novel in which Jim Conklin's death is observed by a tattered man and young Henry Fleming is set during the Civil War and is by Stephen Crane? Crane wrote The Red Badge of Courage. What Shawnee chief formed a Native American alliance to oppose the U.S., but was killed by William Henry Harrison's army at the Battle of the Thames? Lane.
Big Ox.
Incorrect. Morrison, you could take these points. Zayden.
Sitting Bull.
Incorrect. Tecumseh. What second son of King Atreus led the Spartan army in the Trojan War alongside his brother Agamemnon after the kidnapping of his wife Helen? Lane.
Leonidas.
Incorrect. Morrison. Zayden.
Troy.
Incorrect. Menelaus. What four words, which were cried in a whisper to Charles Marlowe, were the last words spoken by Mr. Kurtz in Joseph Conrad's novella, Heart of Darkness? Lane.
Take me with you.
Incorrect. Morrison, you have a guess? Also said by Marlon Brando as Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now, the horror. The horror. And that's how we end the round, with that terrible Marlon Brando impression. Congratulations, Morrison. You are moving on to the next round. That is the cue for applause. Christian Life, it is tough to say goodbye, but it's been a lot of fun watching you play. It's been fun watching some of you play from our middle school game. How many of you are seniors? That's it. So just Lane. That means we will see a lot of familiar faces next season with Christian Life, right? I hope. There's some half-hearted nods there. I'll take that. And again, Morrison, congratulations. You're coming back. You move on to the next game where you take on the winner of next week's Keith versus Winnebago. And actually, Logan, we'll see you in a couple weeks for All-Star, right? All right. And we will see you, hopefully, next week for another Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Thanks for being here.